These are NFL game winners that didn't count.
Miracle touchdown for Bryant!
It's an incomplete pass. Second down and 10.
And first up, we got the time that one of the most heated rivalries of the decade led to one of the biggest L's of the decade. The Bills had a 20-17 lead over the Chiefs. There were just 85 seconds left, and Mahomes had the ball. But a pass by Travis Kelce of all people is what kept the game alive.
This to an open Travis Kelce, who flings it back over to Tony. My goodness, this is going for a touchdown!
I mean, that is just an instant classic of a play. Well, it should have been, but the refs called it back. Why? Because Kadarius Toney is an absolute idiot.
Number 19, offense, lined up in the neutral zone. Wow. 5-yard penalty.
Toney was lined up.
Got to be kidding me.
Yeah, what could have been an all-time play for Toney and Kelce ended up as a blooper and the Chiefs lost. But at least they lost to a rule everyone already knew. Because in 2010, the Lions lost to a rule most people have never heard of. And this call was so famously bad, they basically ended up naming the rule after Calvin Johnson.
They throw it up to Johnson, into the corner. Touchdown, Calvin Johnson! Unbelievable throw by Hill, and a miraculous catch. Wait a minute. Now they overruling and saying he did not get it inbound. Indication of touchdown.
The ruling on the field is that the runner did not complete the catch during the process of the catch. It is an incomplete pass. It will be third down, Detroit.
Yeah, everyone thought it was a touchdown, except the refs. Because back then, you had to hold the ball through the entire process of catching the ball. And even though that's vague as hell, Megatron forever has had this rule stuck to his name. The refs called back the TD, and the Lions got robbed. But that was just the first game winner that didn't count that day. Because no joke, on the exact same day, tragedy also struck the Cowboys-Redskins game. With just 3 seconds left, Tony Romo had one chance to save the game for Dallas.
They nearly got him, and then he hits Williams, but there's a flag down at the 20-yard line.
Perfect pass, wide open receiver, no pass interference. What could go wrong? Romo's own team, one of the Dallas linemen got an egregious holding call.
Look at it, both arms go outside Arakpo, and now a wrap around the neck.
It literally does not get any worse than sabotaging your own team. And since the flag was on the offense, the play was dead, along with the Cowboys' hopes and dreams. And Steeler fans know exactly what that feels like. Because in the final seconds of their 2017 game against the Patriots, tight end Jesse James got what should have been an easy game-sealing touchdown.
To the end zone.
Touchdown, Pittsburgh!
You'd think that's an obvious score, but officials deliberated it for the next 10 minutes. And it took so long, even Jim Nantz was confused.
I don't know why this has taken so long to review it, because clearly Harmon's nowhere close to him unless they're looking at the football. Did it wiggle or anything to the ground? Well, it looks like a touchdown to me.
Actually, yes, the ball did wiggle. And since the Calvin Johnson rule wouldn't be repealed until the next year.
After reviewing the play, the receiver in the end zone did not survive the ground. It's an incomplete pass.
My goodness.
It'll be Pittsburgh's ball. Second down and 10 at the 10-yard line.
TVs definitely got smashed after that call. But to make it worse, the Steelers had 28 seconds and 3 more attempts, and they throw an interception. But there are definitely worse things than losing off a pick. But before we get any further, we gotta talk about Kalshi, the largest prediction market in the US and the sponsor of this video. See, with NBA and NFL games happening every week, Kalshi wants to take your sports experience to the next level. Because they're offering you an exciting new way to get in on the action right now. All you gotta do is download the Kalshi app, sign up using my promo code REDZONE, and place a trade on anything.
NBA champion.
I mean, you could trade on the outcome of basketball, football, politics, and thousands of other events. Like if your favorite NBA player will drop 50, or which coach will be the next one out of the NFL. But Kalshi makes your experience so much better, because instead of normal trades against the house, you're actually trading a yes or no outcome on event contracts, just like you would buying or selling stocks. And not only can you participate in all 50 states, but Kalshi trades on a regulated market where you can cash out whenever you want. You heard that right. So when you're up, you can pull out whenever you want, giving users a chance to score on game day. But now, it's time to talk about DK Metcalf, because his callback touchdown wasn't even his fault. DK just caught the pass from Russell Wilson and flew down the field to the end zone. No offensive PI, no body parts grazing the sideline, just a perfect run, which is exactly what made the callback so brutal. David Moore got a little too handsy, and suddenly, the Seahawks comeback drive was dead in the water. At least the Seahawks had a chance at a comeback drive. The 08 Lions didn't even know what that was, but 2009 would change that. See, after the Lions' infamous 0-16 season, they were trying to rebuild. So when they picked up Matthew Stafford, they were hoping to at least get a few wins. But even a few ended up being too high of a goal. And for the first half of the season, they went 1-9. Not only was the season shaping up to be a slightly better repeat of 08, but Stafford's first season in the NFL was getting tainted in the process. No one wanted to win more than this guy. Cut to their game against the Browns, and he got his shot. Because what should have been a fairly slow game ended up being one of the biggest shootouts of the year.
Into the end zone, and this on him. Here is a throw downfield and a catch and a touchdown. Yard field goal attempt. Hit up and good. It's a hand up the Lions. No, it's a fake and a throw and a touchdown.
By the time the clock was winding down, Cleveland was up 37-31, but Stafford had the ball. And for once in a dumpster fire of a season, the Lions were set up to win. So Stafford takes the snap, scrambles like hell, and
still alive. Ball to the end zone. Jump ball. Intercepted by the Cleveland Browns.
Throws it right to the Browns, and time runs out. But flags are flying everywhere. Why? Well, before Stafford nearly killed the game, a Browns player tried to kill him first.
Way to go. Sets it, throws.
While the Browns player popped off on Matt's shoulder popped out. So on what should have been the Browns' game-sealing interception, a roughing the passer call moved the Lions up 15 yards and gave them one last shot on a completely non-warmed-up QB. But luckily, for reasons no one knows, the Browns took a timeout, so Matt seized the moment.
Hey, that's the timeout. I can play, right? No. Help me out. I can throw the ball. Give me to throw the ball.
Is Stafford coming back in?
Last play of the game. Takes the snap. Rolls, end zone. Touchdown, Detroit Lions out.
It's out. I love you, man.
The Pat went through, and Matt finally got his second win. I mean, he'd go on to lose every other game of the season, but hey, 2 wins are better than none, and a win at all is better than what happened to the 2012 Cowboys. See, earlier in the 2012 season, the Cowboys beat the Giants 24-17, but that was just the first of 2 season matchups. So when October rolled around, the Giants were ready for revenge. And by the middle of the second quarter, it looked like they were gonna get it.
Mike Smith and the Falcons intercepted.
Those Giants must really like keeping everyone on their toes. Because starting before the half, the Cowboys sneakily began a comeback, and by the end of the fourth quarter, they were only down by 5. So on second down, with just 6 seconds left, Romo puts up the pass of his life to Dez Bryant.
And it is a miracle touchdown for Bryant.
Well, almost a miracle touchdown for Bryant. Since you really can't control yourself midair, his arm landed out of bounds, and the Giants got their revenge. But Dez isn't the only one who ran out of room on his score, because during overtime between the Steelers and Bears, Tariq Cohen took off for a 73-yard sprint right to the house.
Right around his man, down the sideline. 10-5, touchdown.
Unfortunately, in this case, the house won, because Tariq was out of bounds about 37 yards before scoring. I mean, the Bears still won, so at least it wasn't a complete fail. But man, that must have been painful to watch for Tariq. Dude literally did the same thing but better and lost it over an inch of the sideline. But Steve Smith's mistake put Joe Flacco in an unwinnable position, because before he was playing the Icy Hot Bowl, Joe Flacco was airing it out to Steve Smith, and one of those was a 60-yard bomb that Smith took to the end zone. But there was a flag on the play for pass interference. All right, no big deal. Ravens will decline it and take the points. Except it wasn't on the defense.
Pass interference. Offense. Number 89. 10-yard penalty. Replay. Third down.
He does get a push here. Watch his left arm extend. He gets a grab and a push.
All Bro had to do was keep his hands to himself. Instead, a game winner got turned into a 3rd and 20 and a loss. And that's not the only time the Ravens messed up an easy dub, because on December 3rd, 2007, they screwed up so bad they might have changed the course of history. See, the Patriots were in the middle of going for their perfect season, and Baltimore was the 12th stop of their conquest. But with a 4-7 record, it looked like the Pats would sweep them. Yet, late in the fourth quarter, with Tom Brady on 4th and 1, they pulled off the impossible. Well, the team pulled off the impossible. The coaches are another story.
They bunched the middle on Brady, and a timeout is taken. Brady was stopped, but the play was stopped first by a Baltimore sideline call.
Can't you take that one back?
There is a disconnect on this team.
All those players had a valid crash out that night. But even though the announcers blamed Brian Billick in the moment, he was just covering for who actually called the timeout. And surprise, surprise, it was Mr. 4-12 himself, Rex Ryan. So thanks to him, the Patriots got a do-over and won 27-24. But at least the coaches were the blame here. In 2017, the Lions had no one to blame but themselves, because they were right on track to get their first 3-0 start since 2011. And all they had to do was beat the Falcons. That might have been easy too, if they didn't didn't have to go 89 yards with 2 minutes and 23 seconds left with no timeouts. So they absolutely sprinted down the field.
Right. Middle of the field. Catch. Hit hard. Theo Riddick is alone in the middle of the field.
Pass after pass after pass, and suddenly a comeback was within reach. Unfortunately, those passes were followed by flag after flag after flag. But Stafford held on through 4 more passes and 1 more flag. Bro, the tension in that stadium could have stopped a heartbeat. And honestly, on their final play, it probably did.
Stafford's throw. Catch made. Touchdown Lions!
That touchdown was in fact not a touchdown. Tate was just 6 inches short. But at least they had 1 more shot, right? Wrong.
After reviewing the play, the ruling on the field has changed. The runner was touched down at the half-a-yard line. He was short of the goal line. By rule, we would go back to a running clock and we have a 10-second runoff. So by rule, the game is over.
Yeah, because the Lions had no more timeouts left, the review triggered a 10-second runoff, and there was nothing Detroit could do to stop it. Which is brutal, but not as bad as what happened to Jimmy Graham and the Saints. Because in 2014, the Saints and Niners were tied 24-24 with 5 seconds on the clock. And even though it should have been the Saints' game, when Drew Brees heaved up this pass, it very quickly became the Niners.
Jimmy Graham, he's got it! Touchdown!
At first glance, it doesn't seem like anything actually happened. In reality,
Number 80.
It's a good call.
listen, Graham definitely pushed off Cox, but the guy sold it like he got hit by a bulldozer, which might have tipped off the ref. If that counts as good defense, then Cox should really consider joining the NBA. But flopping for a foul is at least a tactical decision. The last play of the 2013 Steelers-Dolphins game was the exact opposite of tactical. But to be fair, when you're 60 yards from the end zone and the QB is Big Ben, there aren't too many options for you. Ben wasn't exactly close to Rodgers with Hail Mary skill, and the defense was playing very aggressively. But even with more passes than an NBA game, it wasn't enough. Brown was spotted stepping inches out of bounds. Man, just once I'd like to see one of these insane lateral plays work like they do in the NCAA. The closest I've seen was the River City Relay, even though it was completely pointless. See, back in 2003, the Saints were down by 7 against the Jaguars, and with just 7 seconds on the clock,
To Lewis. Back to McAllister.
you could watch that all day. But if you're a Saints fan, you know what comes next. Because even though they pulled off the ultimate lateral, the Pats put a dark stain on it.
Extra point by John Carney.
And he missed.
No! He missed the extra point wide right.
Something tells me the announcer was a Saints fan. But while that miss ended one miracle, one failed game winner led to one of the best game winners of all time. Packers versus Lions 2015.
In the middle of the field, to Jones, to Rodgers, How about that? Rodgers gets it the other way. He's thrown down. We got a flag. The game's not over.
In an alternate universe, Devin Taylor's thumb was 1 inch lower and Lions fans actually left the game happy for once. Instead, but it's not the only time a failed sack led to one more play. In fact, it wasn't even the only one that season, because earlier that year, the Jags were in the exact same position as the Packers when they faced the Ravens. Same desperation, same last-second face mask.
Bortles stumbling. Play is not dead. Boy, in a face mask at the end of the play.
Wow. Considering Blake Bortles basically sacked himself first, I don't know how they ended up with that face mask. But thanks to it, Bortles got one more chance to pull an Aaron Rodgers. Except not really. After the self-sack, the coaching staff decided they weren't about the rest of the game on Michael Scott. So with no time left, Jason Myers comes out, smashes a 53-yarder, and the Jags take home the dub. And as unexpected as that ending was, absolutely no one could have predicted the end to this Steelers-Colts game. See, in the 2005 AFC Divisional round, the Steelers were up 21-18 with 1:20 left. They didn't necessarily need a touchdown, but putting the score up to 28-18 would basically guarantee a dub. So on the goal line, Jerome Bettis takes the handoff and
Bettis. Fumble the ball. Picked up by Nick Harper. Oh my, Harper with Roethlisberger to beat. Roethlisberger makes the tackle at the 43-yard line.
Bro getting fumbled out of the bus is crazy. On the goal line, though, the script doesn't get crazier than that normally. Because after the Steelers lost their game icer, the Colts marched all the way down to the 36-yard line to tie the game. They bring out one of the all-time great kickers, Mike Vonderjack. And then...
And it's no good. He missed it. Not even close. Wide right.
Bro really took a page out of the 03 Saints handbook. But missing a kick wide right is nothing compared to what happened to the Giants, because they have one of the worst end zone fails of all time. Like, seriously, this type of play you'd never expect to see outside of college, because they were up 13-9 against the Jaguars in 2000. And when the Giants defensive back Fred Lewis intercepted Mark Brunell's pass, it should have clinched the game.
Throws for the end zone. It is intercepted at the goal line. Fred Lewis intercepted, lost the football. That is a touchdown, or is it?
Leave it to the rookie to tackle his own teammate. But he's not the only one who ruined a game with his hands. By 2014, Des Bryant was getting used to it. While he was one of the best receivers of the 2010s, Des was also one of the most unlucky ones. Because the only thing worse than his hand placement in the 2012 end zone was his hand placement in the 2014 end zone.
Here's one down the sideline. Pass caught by Des Bryant.
After review, it has been determined that the receiver did not maintain possession of the football.
Calvin Johnson rule strikes again. That rule and this catch will never fail to piss me off. I'm not even a Cowboys fan, but that call on that catch is one of the biggest robberies ever. But it's not the biggest robbery ever. That would be the 2001 AFC Divisional Round, Raiders versus Patriots. Which means you already know where this is going, because in the fourth quarter, with the Pats down 3, Tom Brady was allowed to do over what should have been the easiest fumble call in history.
Blitz. Lost the football. It's on the ground. Covered by the Raiders.
Tom Brady never sees him coming from the front side.
But at the time, if a QB started to throw the ball and the ball slipped out while the QB was pulling it back in, it was ruled as an incomplete pass, not a fumble. Yeah, welcome to the stupidity of the tuck rule. And because the tuck rule hadn't been repealed yet, Brady took the Pats to the 35. Vinatieri kicked the field goal, and the Pats won the game in overtime. That single call literally started the Patriots dynasty. And yet, I wouldn't say it's the worst near-game winner in this video, because the Lions pulled one off for the ages pretty recently. See, back in 2023, they were down 20-13 against the Cowboys. And on 2nd and 10, Jared Goff fires one to Amon-Ra St. Brown.
Down and 10. There's St. Brown. Head of steam. Touchdown, Detroit. Wow!
It doesn't really get much closer than that. But since St. Brown got in, head coach Dan Campbell immediately signaled to go for 2. Because Campbell had a trick play up his sleeve he'd been dying to use. Like so badly that he told the refs before the game to watch out for it. So both teams line up to go for 2. Goff takes the snap.
3 for 5 on tries, and a timeout is taken by McCarthy along the sideline.
And the Cowboys call a timeout? Well, yeah, red flags went up when they saw Dan Campbell practically jumping at the opportunity for 2 points. So they wanted to prepare for anything. But no amount of timeouts could have prepared them for this.
Play action. End zone. There it is! Unbelievable! The 2-point try is good.
Everyone loves a big man touchdown. Well, everyone except the refs, because right after the touchdown, they made a wild ruling.
So the call is an illegal touch?
They said Big Man 68 wasn't even eligible as a receiver, even though he should have been, but it wasn't his fault. Basically, the Lions were trying to pull a fast one on the Cowboys, show 68 to the refs and 70 to the Cowboys. But that's one big brain move too many. So instead, the refs saw 70 as the eligible one. The Cowboys were just straight up confused, and 68 ended up with an erased touchdown. And with that trick play disaster, the final attempts at conversion failed, and the Cowboys won. But as we know, not every game-end disaster ends with a loss for the offending team, even if it shoulda, because when the Raiders played the Chiefs, they discovered the infinite play glitch. Seriously, you won't even believe how many tries they got at this last play. First up, Derek Carr fires a touchdown to Jared Cook.
Carr, pass, and it is caught! What a catch! Incredible! Cook comes down with it!
But he was actually down before he crossed the goal line. All good though. They still got time on the clock. Just make sure it's an actual touchdown on the next play. So Carr fires again. This time to Michael Crabtree, and almost another touchdown. The call this time?
Pass interference. Offense. For 15.
On Crabtree.
10-yard penalty. Replay.
Let's see. Oh my gosh. I think we see that all the time.
The announcer is right. We do see that all the time. But regardless, we have to try to win it again. Luckily, third time's a charm.
Here's Carr. Stepping up. Another flag is down. It was right in Cook's hands. We're going to get another play.
Well, normally third time's a charm. The game can't end on a defensive penalty. So at long last, the Raiders go for their 4th game-winning attempt.
Looking left. Across the middle. He throws. And it was caught, and he was out of bounds.
Finally, game over. Wait, was that another flag?
To the back of the end zone. Complete pass. However, there's holding defense, number 21. That penalty's half the distance to the goal.
One for the books.
We will play another untimed down.
Bro. Okay, one final, actual for real last play to win it all. Can they do it?
One more time to decide it. Carr on the run. Throws! Catch for the touchdown! Crabtree!
Genuinely never thought that would end. And to top it all off, their extra point was just as close as all those plays. But one game winner that never came to be tops all of those. And it's not even close. By far the worst robbery of all time goes to the Saints. Because in the 2019 NFC Championship against the Rams, with a minute 49 left, the Saints were one play away from the Super Bowl.
Breeze. Pass is incomplete, no flag for Tommy Lee Lewis. And the two officials talk to each other. Crowd's going crazy as there's no flag right on the Saints sideline.
The flag never came. It could have been for pass interference, helmet to helmet, hitting a defenseless receiver, damn near everything, and yet nothing. Brady gets a do-over on an obvious fumble, but on the play that literally everyone in the building saw, except the 7 guys actually paid to see it, the Saints got hit with the biggest robbery in NFL history.
Bad call. What was a bad call? Everyone's saying.
Stevie Wonder saw that, man.
It was a very terrible call.
Yeah.
The Saints got cheated today, and it's terrible. The NFL should be ashamed of themselves what they did.
The whole world seen that was pass interference. One bad call can cost you the game, and that one bad call cost us the Super Bowl.
Couldn't have put it better myself.